Now you're over 6,500. You've got campuses, obviously here in the country. I know you have a couple internationally. We've talked about that before. As you have grown as a church over those 20 years, would you say, I guess I'm curious even personally, would you say that maybe the perceived purpose of the church or even the DNA kind of changed or evolved over time? And if so, where is that now, and what do you see as some of those unique attributes about River Valley?
Yeah, I mean, when we started, we were a traditional Assembly of God church. I don't know what group you come from, but we were traditional. We had seen Willow Creek one time, and I was like, they have a restaurant in their church. That's amazing. And I actually enjoyed this, which everyone said was evil, seeker sensitive. And I actually enjoyed it. Thought, oh, these guys are onto something. And then Fellowship Church came on the scene, and I thought, you can actually do illustrated sermons. And we just started morphing, and I dropped the suit and tie, started to dress like the people in our community, and just everything morphed and changed. We embraced a newer style of worship with the Hillsong. And so I've said, if you take like Hillsong, Willow Creek, Fellowship Church, threw them in a blender, you know, that you might find us, you know. And but it reflected us. And then I had to change as a leader. You know, I was super pastor. I wrote everybody a handwritten birthday card, anniversary card. I tried to be at every baptism, every dedication, every new baby being born, up until the church hit 500. I was just nonstop, run. And God said one day, like, either they'll be known by someone or known by you. If they can only be known by you, this is as big as your church will ever get. But if they can be known by someone in your church can get bigger. But you have to change. You have to step away. That was the biggest one in my life. And then the second one was, God told me one day, pastor like you parent. And I was like, what do you mean? And he said, your kids are turning out great, your church not so much. And I was like, what do you mean? And he said, you're willing to tell your kids the hard things to form them into the image that you want them to be. You know, if your kid is a whiner, you're like, don't whine, nobody likes a whiner. Okay? So you're correcting your kids along the way. But the church, I'd let them whine. And God's like, why don't you correct bad behavior? Why don't you pastor them like you love them and you want them to be formed into my image and appear before me someday better than they were when they first started coming to your church? It just wrecked me. And now I can preach on any topic in love, knowing that I'm really preaching on this to help them to be formed into the image of Christ. And people have said the harder the topic, the better, because they know I really want them to be formed in the image of Christ. So they receive it really well. So a lot of transformation in our church.
I love that. Now I assume as you went through a lot of transformation and leadership development yourself, that the staff had to go through a lot of those changes, and just knowing people and humanity in general, you're going to have people that are on board, you're going to have people that struggle with change. So as you started to grow through all of those years, what are some of the maybe larger issues that you remember coming across, and how did you engage and motivate your staff to accelerate through those changes?
Yeah, I think a couple quick things. People don't usually have the same spot on our team for more than just a couple years. And I think that was hard. I thought that when I hired a youth pastor, he had that spot for life. And I was like, he has it for a season, and it may not be forever. And so we've changed to saying, you're going to have a seat on the bus, but it may not be the same seat. Be willing to move seats on the bus. And we're putting the best people in the right spots. You're on with the journey. And so that's been probably the biggest change. And having to let people go. Here's another thing. The first time I had to let somebody go wrecked me. Like fire them, let them go, or just say their future wasn't with us. And I was just wrecked because I thought I was their provider. You know, I was like, what are they going to do for a job? I mean, they come in here. And then I was reading in Genesis where Hagar and Ishmael are cast out from Abraham's family, and instead of dying, God gives them a prophecy over them. It says, you'll be okay. I'm taking care of you. Like, it never was Abraham ever. It was me. And God's like, now I've got you. I'll take care of you. And I thought, wow, even people that leave your group, leave your family, leave your church, He's their source, not you. Make sure you do this right and you're God honoring. But He's their source. And bless them as they go. And some have just had thriving ministries since they left. So